What's going on, everybody? This is episode 4 of the official BeatzCoin podcast. I am Alex G, your host, and I am super fired up for many reasons, actually. First off, I'm pretty excited because I finally got some good equipment, so I should sound better. I told you guys, I promised that I was going to get better at this podcasting thing, so this should be a real upgrade as far as the listening experience goes. Now, more importantly, on the BeatzCoin side of things, we have had tremendous growth over the last couple of weeks. And this is from a community perspective and a funds raised perspective. So people are buying BeatzCoin. People are joining our groups. Shout out to Guild Chat, which has been fantastic. A lot of people from the TRON community are using that app. And we've created some really interactive rooms there. And a lot of people are supporting our community. Shout out to David for adminning those. Thank you, David. You've been great with that. Pre-sale officially ended. We raised almost 900,000 TRX, which puts us in a really good position as far as our development goes. Some key things to look forward to. Within a couple of weeks to a month, we'll have a prototype. Nothing fancy there. It'll be more like a test net where you can interact with our platform. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles, but you can kind of see some basic functions of more or less how it will be. Then after that, we will launch our MVP. That's at least what it's called in the developing world. It stands for minimal viable product, I believe. That is going to be more like a beta. I think we're all familiar with the word beta. So it won't be perfect, but it'll be something where you can actually transact BeatzCoin and listen to music and other type of content. So we're really excited about that. And I'm really excited about today's episode. I spoke to Tim Bryan. He's been in music for over 25 years. He's a fantastic musician, currently with the band Starlings, Tennessee. And we talked about a ton of stuff, things that you're definitely going to want to listen into. So I really hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and let's get it kicked off. Whiskey sweet, whiskey of mine, one true love, my only crime, and the new in time. Oh, whiskey girl, don't take you from me. I wish all the more folks just let us be as your love sets me free, and how smooth you go down on me. All right, everybody, I'm with Mr. Tim Bryan. How you doing, Tim?
Good. Great to be here.
Man, I'm glad I met you. We talked a little bit. I was listening to your latest album from Starlings, Tennessee, and let me say I just kept listening and listening. I think I went through the whole thing in 30 minutes.
Well, we try to keep it fast and keep it short, keep it sweet. Just hit the notes you need to hit.
Yeah, man. So you were telling me through text that you've recorded with 5 different bands. Am I right?
Yeah, that's correct. I started. I started in the early '90s recording, and actually I was recording. I was in a punk rock band and didn't want anything to do with the music industry, or we were just going to rule the world all by ourselves, and blew a couple record deals on purpose and that kind of thing. And then I got a little bit older and wiser and decided I should probably just go ahead and suck it up and I hate to say sell out, because we never did, but we learned to play the game, basically. That's what it came down to.
I mean, that's essentially what it is in the industry, right?
It's all a game.
Yeah,
it's all a game.
Going back to your kind of your younger days, so kind of what got you into music in general?
I didn't even really start playing till I was probably about 18 years old. A buddy of mine just decided that we were going to start a band. We were going to be a band. His name was John Dazzo, and he and I both grew up in South Florida. I was in North Miami Beach, and he lived in Hollywood, and, we worked together. So we started playing together, and then we moved off to this little town called Ruston, Louisiana, which was later became famous as like one of the indie rock capitals of the world. It was like the Elephant Six movement with Neutral Milk Hotel and Apples in Stereo and Olivia Tremor Control and all that. So I got to moved here, and one of the first people I met was a guy named Jeff Mangum, who just was kind of to himself and that kind of thing, but lived and died by music. And it was a community of us, probably 30 or 40. Everybody would play on everybody else's songs and that kind of thing. And, eventually, Jeff released an album under Neutral Milk Hotel called Airplane Under the Sea that I think Rolling Stone eventually named it the #1 indie rock album of all time.
Wow.
So, but sadly, everybody who lived here, kind of had to move away somewhere else to make it big.
Right. That's always been kind of the issue. You can't stay where you are in most cases. So when you started out, what was your first instrument?
I started as a guitar player, and then I realized I couldn't play guitar. So I quickly traded my guitar for a bass.
Okay.
And started
so
playing
you
bass.
From 6 strings to 4. That works.
Yep. Well, I had no problem. I could play the bass because I knew all the notes from playing guitar, and I could lock in with a drummer. And that was the only really thing you had to do as a bass player, was know what the guitar player was going to play and lock in with the drummer. It was pretty easy.
So with Starlings, what do you play there? Oh,
with
you told me
Starlings,
you play. Okay, tell me if I'm saying it right. The Appalachian Dulcimer.
Appalachian Mountain Dulcimer.
Okay, Dulcimer. Okay.
Yep.
It kind of looks like a violin for someone who doesn't know anything about instruments.
It sits in your lap. It's like it's like an oversized violin, 4-string instrument. You sit in your lap, and you play it in your lap. And I'd gotten a record deal, and I moved to Nashville, and basically playing with a punk rock band, or an alternative rock band named the Methadone Actors. And, we released a couple albums, and then it was one of those things where we were all young, nobody was really ready to stay out on the road and live that life yet, except me. And so the band kind of released a couple albums, which were, pretty well critically acclaimed. And then, but we did, one big tour, and then I remember we were coming back through like Pennsylvania, from a trip up the East Coast, and just decided this was going to be the last of the shows. And so I didn't know what to do, and I came back to Louisiana and was helping a buddy of mine open up a restaurant. And there was a guy that I used to, when I was in Nashville, there was a guy that I used to sit next to at this bar all the time called the Villager Tavern. And he was a great dude. But for months, he and I would sit next to each other, and we never spoke. He would come in and sit next to me, and I would go in and sit next to him, whoever was there first. We would just sit next to each other
and never say
for
a
a couple
word to each
hours. Play music on the jukebox, just listen to the music, not talk to each other, have a couple beers.
Not even a nod or anything?
No. Well, yeah, a nod when he would come in, or a nod when I would come in, but that was it. And then one day I said, I got up to leave, and I was like, well, it was great not talking to you. And so he introduced himself to me. His name was David Schnoffer. And I realized that I had seen him years before down in Louisiana, and he was an Appalachian Mountain Dulcimer player.
Wow.
So after that day, he and I became really, really good friends, and, and we started telling tour stories and stuff like that, because we realized we had a lot of friends in common. And then I came to find out, that, he'd played with, with Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson and Charlie Pride and the Judds, and, he was a dulcimer professor at Vanderbilt University.
Wow.
And he had taught, one of his students was Cyndi Lauper. He taught her. And he had his thing that he used to do was, after your first lesson, you have to go home. You get 1 week. He'll only meet with you 1 day a week, and he'll meet with you for a couple hours. And then after your first lesson, you have to go home and write a song.
Wow.
He gives you a lesson, go home and you write a song, and then come back the next week and you have to play him that song. Well, Cyndi Lauper, her first song that she ever wrote on dulcimer after her first lesson with Dave was Time After Time, which of course became a huge, top 10 hit for her. And Dave used to just play it so beautifully. And then after I left, after our band broke up and I had left Nashville, Dave called me down to Louisiana. I guess he missed his drinking buddy and was like, come back to Nashville. I'll give you my dulcimer and we'll start a band together.
And that
so
was
I was like,
Starlings, Tennessee?
Hey, that was Starlings, Tennessee, yeah. He and I and Steve Stubblefield, who was the singer, for the Methadone Actors. I introduced Steve to Dave, and then they started hanging out after I left town, and I guess they both missed me. So they decided the only way they were going to get me back was to start a band with the three of us playing Appalachian Mountain dulcimers.
So, okay, I was listening to the music under like Apple Music or whatever. It's listed as country. Would you consider that like 100% country? Because to me, it sounds a little folky as well.
No, we're. I mean, legitimately, I would probably class it as Americana more than anything else, because it's kind of a blend of, country, bluegrass, some old old Mississippi Delta blues, and there's a lot of different, there's slides in there. I mean, I play it. I don't play. Unlike, I play it the dulcimer unlike probably everybody else in the world who plays it, because I have basically David Schnopper's, what he called Black Beauty. It's this electric dulcimer that he had custom made for him.
Wow.
And then I play it with a violin bow. I put banjo strings on it, and I play it through guitar effects and a guitar amp, pitch shifters, and digital delays.
You just
so it's real spacey sounding. Yeah.
And, that's what you play that's what you play on Starlings, right?
Yeah. All the background droney sounds, one song it'll sound like a cello, the next song it sounds like bagpipes, the next song it'll sound like a violin.
Wow.
It's an absolutely amazing instrument. And I really don't know why more people aren't playing it the way I am.
Heck, by the end of this conversation, I might get myself one.
I've had so many people who, who'd never even seen the instrument or had seen one maybe like in their grandmother's house laying next to the fireplace, that kind of thing, as more of a ornament than as an instrument. Who were like, I never knew that instrument could do that.
Wow.
But it's an amazing, beautiful instrument,
See, and those are the instruments that I can appreciate. Ones that are versatile and that you can make all sorts of sounds with it. And I was kind of, it had me very curious, because I would go listen from one song to the other on the latest album that you guys have. And I was like, okay, which instrument is this and which one is that? And the next song, I'm like, man, it looks like they play a whole bunch of different stuff. But you're telling me that's all the dulcimer?
I mean, two or three dulcimers for the most part, and wow. As you go through it, if you listen to it, it's such a versatile instrument. There's different ways of playing it. And we have dulcimers that have banjo heads on it that sound like a banjo. There's not a banjo on any of the albums, but you'll hear a banjo. It's not a banjo. It's a dulcimer.
Wow. So I got to ask you about. So I listened through the album, and my favorite song right off the bat was the "Oh Whiskey" song. What's up with the crow on the album art? Like, I notice a lot of albums use a crow on the album art. I'm just kind of like curious about that. I don't know if you have any.
Well, we have a girl named Wendy in Nashville that does all of our album artwork for us. And she will just come up with, she'll do a painting, and we turn her paintings into our album artwork. That's pretty much how it goes down. We just say, Wendy, we give her songs and let her listen to the songs, and she interprets it into a painting. And that's the album. That becomes whatever she comes up with. That is the album cover. I mean, that's cool. Honestly how that happens. We love her artwork, and we love to support local artists. No matter, it's a community.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I mean, even
it's building. The music industry it's a community, because there's thousands of guys like me out there, that dedicate their entire lives to music, and you'll never hear them. You'll never know their names. You might see them opening up for your favorite artist, and then you'll never see them again.
That is so true.
We play in the dive bars and the honky tonks and wherever else most nights of the week, and every now and then we catch a break and land a big show with somebody, and then we do a couple big shows with somebody, and then we go back to the honky tonks and the dive bars where we're comfortable.
Wow. And that's kind of, shifting gears a little bit, and you can kind of relate it to the crypto community, specifically with TRON. It's an awesome community, don't you think?
I agree 100%. It's an amazing community, and that's kind of how I ended up into TRON. I got into crypto during the big burst of last year, at the end of the year,
right,
2017, the boom. I didn't buy in. I just wanted to study it. I didn't buy in until everything bottomed out.
Smart man.
But I studied it all along. Was studying it, and everything that kept coming out, from TRON was, the idea, everything, behind the idea. A lot of people, hear about crypto and, they think Bitcoin and it's a get-rich-quick scheme and this, but there's so much more to it now than Bitcoin,
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's going to revolutionize.
And TRON is one of those
different industries. Yeah,
it's going to revolutionize everything.
Yeah,
completely and totally. That's how I discovered BeatzCoin too was through going through all the TRON updates and stuff like that, because I'm religious about reading about crypto. And I got into BeatzCoin for that reason, just reading through the light paper and stuff like that, and I kind of had that idea, as a project or something that I wanted to work on myself, and I was like, damn it, I can't do that. They're doing it already.
Well, see, I think that's most of our stories, because with me, I love music, and I'm not a very good player of music, but I love music. I collect instruments. Yeah, sure. But it says the guy who's done it for a living and for passion. So, I was kind of the same way. I remember I got inspired by, a few musicians, and just seeing how, unless you're like super duper rich, the way that the music industry takes advantage of you. And I'm like, man, there's got to be a better way. And then I remember listening to TED Talks. This guy was talking about Bitcoin, and then he mentions about how it could change the music industry. And then that's when all the ideas started to pop in my head, and I was looking for companies on the blockchain to either invest or get involved in. And then nothing really kind of stood out. But then obviously as a huge fan of TRON, I said, well, let me see if anyone's doing anything in music with TRON. And then I found BeatzCoin, and the rest is history. I talked to the CEO and pretty much convinced him to let me to let me join, and now here I am doing a podcast and talking to you.
Well done, because I feel like all those of us that are into it now and researching it and putting a lot of work and effort into it are the 1%ers of the future.
And the
You
awesome
know, I
thing,
mean, can see the big picture, can
yeah,
see the utility in all of it, and not as a get rich quick scheme, but as a way of changing the world in every industry in it.
I remember when, I mean, to be honest with you, who doesn't want to make money, right? So when I first bought Tron and I saw it like shoot up to, I was like, oh man, I'm going to be able to pay off my house and all this good stuff. And I would keep looking at the price. But then once I got involved in this project, I just saw so much beyond that. And ever since, I'm just kind of wrapped up into this. But you're not the first person to tell me that they wanted to do this, that they had that idea. A lot of musicians or people that are involved in music, they want to do this. So I said, man, if we just create this community, we've already got people that want this to be done. So all they're going to do is give us support. And I really think we're in a good place. And, you know, having people like you and you know, others kind of just advocate for us and plan to use the platform and things like that, it's going to be something, you know, that it'll definitely take time to grow, but it's something that can kind of bridge the gap between crypto and, you know, music. Because I know not everyone knows about crypto. And these musicians, they're traveling 24/7 to make a living. So what time do they have, right?
All the bridges will eventually be in place. I mean, it's inevitable, just because of the way that the industry has, I mean, evolved into basically screwing artists out of their money. Mm-hmm. Is what it comes down to. I mean, look, I have, you know, a couple hundred songs on iTunes and Spotify and, you know, Pandora channels, and it doesn't amount to anything. I used to make more money selling cassettes, you know, wow, on the road than
wow.
And actually the probably the biggest money maker that we've had in the last 10 years is releasing stuff on vinyl.
Yeah, vinyl's making a comeback.
You know, has been throwback stuff like that
thing.
has been what's actually made money versus releasing albums. Because I mean, heck, our albums, you know, when they're coming out and stuff like that, heck, they're on Spotify a week before we even release them. People are already listening to it and basically for, you know, next to nothing. Because you pay a monthly fee and you can listen to 1 million songs a month. So what, you know, $9.99 divided by 1 million, and, you know, not a whole lot of the money is making its way back to artists. And a platform, you know, like BeatzCoin not only enables, you know, an artist to release, you know, a video and then sell the music associated with the video, but, you know, eventually buy tickets to shows, buy merchandise, tip the artist. You know, if you just like, I mean, there's 10 different revenue streams for an artist on one platform.
Yeah, essentially, I mean...
And all of those revenue streams are fair and sided towards in the artist's favor, mm-hmm, versus, you know, everything now, all the decentralized platforms, YouTube and stuff like that. You don't, you know, the revenues, you know, possibilities are not even in the ballpark.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's so the whole idea concept, and when it all comes to fruition and artists realize that they can control their own income.
That's the thing.
You know, versus just having to give it away, you know, in hopes that you know,
that they'll make it big,
they'll sell out their next show and sell a bunch of T-shirts because they're going to have to live on the road to make money.
This is one thing, well, two things that you'll probably hear me say on almost every episode is that we're aiming to create a music ecosystem. So if we incorporate all these things, all these objectives, yeah, they're ambitious, you know, to be able to buy tickets for the show and stuff, you know, maybe a long way away from that. But if we are able to incorporate all that and we create like a true music ecosystem, that's going to change the game, and it's going to create a living for artists. Because I personally don't care, that the next celebrity comes from BeatzCoin because they uploaded their songs on BeatzCoin. I'd rather have 100 people making a living compared to just getting one celebrity out of there. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Well, I think BeatzCoin is definitely going in the right direction, and leading the way. And it's we're right now, like I said, we're the 1%. We are sitting at the beginning of the road, and we are just looking at the skyline.
Right, because we're aware of the situation.
But there's no end in sight. It's as far as ambition can take us. It's as far as we can go.
And just by identifying the problems and then having the solution, like, that's going to get people on board. Because I mean, let's walk through this. We know that streaming is geared towards a convenience for the consumer, the listener, right? But that affects the artist in a negative way, because no one's really buying music anymore, like you said. So then these artists are forced to tour 24/7, like every single day. And I mean, you tell me, what do you really make off of ticket revenue? Like, let's say you go play at a House of Blues or, at a small convention center. What type of money do you actually see from that? Or does the band actually see from that?
No, it's all varied, and it's all by contract. But the thing is with, that kind of deal, the bigger artists are the ones who make money. And oftentimes, the bands that you see opening up, those little bands that you see opening up trying to get exposure had to pay money to get on the bill.
Wow.
And that's kind of how it, but that's the way it is. And hopefully we can all change that in the future, because otherwise it's going to be a slow death for music, and you're going to have music's going to be generated by computers and algorithms rather than by hearts and souls.
Man. Yeah, and I mean,
because it's a lot cheaper to have a computer do it than.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Computer claims no copyright.
They can sure take advantage of that. It's crazy, man. It's crazy because I see some of my favorite artists aren't, super famous anymore, and they're doing shows day in and day out to make a living. And then, us listeners, we get frustrated. You're like, man, how come this group hasn't made an album in, like 2, 3, 4, 5 years? Well, because they're busy having to tour and play the same old songs to make some money and sell some T-shirts. That's the only way they're going to make a living. They don't have the time to spend in the studio and make even more great content that they can.
Yeah. Being in the studio, to me was always the best part of it. But that was the thing, is you had to make that money to get back into the studio.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now you have artists building studios in their house, which is a smart thing to do.
Well, that was the other thing. A lot of it came through, Apple creating Pro Tools and stuff like that made it so that anybody could have, it started with, people, them inventing 4-track recorders, and eventually, Apple coming up with iTunes, which, makes it infinitely easier to, you don't have to build a $120,000 studio for $10,000. You could set up your own studio, get a few good mics and some nice cables and a good hard drive and computer in your program, and you're pretty much set to go. And then if you want to spend extra money on tools and loops and stuff like that, you're welcome to. But technology has made it easier to record. But technology has also made it harder to make money.
Right, because you're
So
uploading. I mean, you can make all the stuff, and it's cheap now. But then when you're trying to make money off of the art that you create, you're not really you're not really being able to make anything. You know?
no, because it's. I mean, like I said, it's.
Have you heard of
I
that?
remember.
Go
Sorry, go
ahead.
ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, I remember one time, we had just finished, like, had just got the final mix of an album, and what's the app? Shazam, that you press the button and it listens to part of the song, and then it tells you what the song is.
Right, yeah, that's Shazam. That's
And we had just finished this album and got the masters back and all that. And I Shazammed that we had just gotten back, and it was already on Shazam. That tells you how fast this stuff gets out, and it's out there on all formats before it's even released. That was probably a month before the album was even released, and it was already in the Shazam database.
Yeah, that's incredible. In good ways and bad ways.
Yeah, it was scary. I was like, how does it get out there? And YouTube will create videos for your stuff.
Oh,
it'll just be like the album cover and stuff. Yeah, and so I'm like, well, damn, it's already on YouTube, and we haven't even released the video yet, and they've already got the video on there, and they claim the copyright to it.
And then you've got YouTube censoring.
It's generated by you. I think it says something like generated by YouTube underneath it. And I'm just like, we haven't even had time to do the video yet. What do you mean? What do you mean there's already a video for it?
Man, these people, I tell you, with all this that's come out, they're kind of, at first we thought it was great. And then when you realize what the real implications are, It just frustrates you.
That's the thing that I'm hoping to convey to most people. If you like a band, buy their stuff.
Right.
Go to their website and find a link directly to their Bandcamp site or whatever, and buy it directly from the band or directly from the label, because that more money goes to the artist if you do it that way. If you buy it through iTunes, your favorite band is not getting the money.
Nope.
They're getting pennies on the dollar of what they deserve.
Yeah, and it's crazy.
If you like a band, buy it directly from the band. Go to the band's website, find out where to buy it. Email the band.
No, that's true.
Because if they don't care and they're just giving it away, then go ahead and buy it on an iTunes. But we always have all of our stuff on separately on the side on a Bandcamp stuff, to where you can buy it directly from us for a donation. You don't even have to, because you could put $1 in there, and we'd still make more you giving us $1 than buying it on iTunes.
Say that again, please. Say that again.
Buy it directly from the band, because if you buy, even if we always set it up to where you just make a donation in the album, and you can download the album for any, if you buy it for $1, because if you buy it for $1 from us, we'd still make more than if you buy it off of iTunes.
Man, that's,
I don't know. And if the album's worth more than $1 to you, then by God, give your favorite band more than $1.
Wow. Hey,
but we always make that an option.
Yeah. So what do you think about this? Have you heard about that new music law? It's called the Music Modernization Law or Act, something like that.
I've heard it, but it's been a war going on back and forth, and they keep changing it. So we'll see how it all settles in the end.
Yeah, I read a couple of articles, and I probably should do some more research, but it honestly seems really vague. It's supposed to make the whole copyright and streaming thing more fluent, but nothing, in my opinion, nothing groundbreaking yet that's going to kind of, change the landscape like what we're trying to do. But
no, because there's too much money involved, and there's too many, and
yeah,
all these big companies that are the ones who will fight against it, and they're the ones who have the money to fight against it, not the artists. And that's where it's going to go. Individual artists don't have lobbyists.
That's true.
whereas
the people are
major
supposed
industry,
to be, the fans are supposed to be the lobbyists, but they don't know any better. That's the truth, because
right?
they're just they're happy
I
because
mean,
they're
you'll
streaming
see.
all their favorite
I've signed
songs.
every petition that circulated to try and but it never seems to change.
No, it doesn't.
But that's just the way. You just got to keep fighting it, and guess what? We're fighting in a way they never saw coming. Blockchain.
Yep. And you won't be the first or last musician to come on here and say the exact same things. So we're going to beat it into people's brains so they understand.
I'll be one of the first, but I certainly will not be the last, because especially the more the ball starts rolling, once there's not going to be any stopping this.
Nope.
I mean, you started at TRON and what TRON is creating. There's going to be the big guys are going to be jumping on board to TRON.
Oh yeah, that's
because
true.
They don't want to get bowled over.
Yeah, and there's actually like there's other music projects and like they're Ethereum based and things like that, but I don't know what they're doing because they can't, like when it comes to micropayments and things like that, there's no comparison to what Tron can do. So
and Tron's fees are nothing. I've moved.
Yeah. So it's like why
I've moved a lot of Tron around yet, and I think the most I paid is one Tron.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, like the other day I was.
So that's like 2.4 cents today.
Yeah, I do a lot of tips
tomorrow. I hope
there,
because if it goes to $10 tomorrow, I'll pay the one Tron tomorrow too.
Oh, of course.
Just saying. I'll also be touring full time if it goes to $10.
We'll hold you to that, man. I'm hoping for that day, and I'll buy tickets to see you in every city if that's the case. So, man, there's so much potential, and I think we're right on the right blockchain, the right platform. It's a recipe for a lot of success. Now it's just a matter of getting the artist on board, which people like yourself and many others that I've already talked to are excited about it. And then we'll see the listeners come. And the cool thing about Tron having a high supply and, not being like a, $20 coin or a $500 coin, it makes it, easier for people to be willing to invest, because, even if you're getting, 1 or 2 Trons, that's 5 cents, you'll have more people start tipping you. And then, that type of stuff adds up.
Exactly. And being at the price that it is as well, people will be more apt to be like, well, hell, I'll buy 1,000 of those.
Yeah. And I mean, even the day, because
I mean, where else can you go? I think about it, and I'm like, and I bought a whole lot of Tron when it was like just under 2 cents.
Mm-hmm. Same here.
And my reasoning was, when I'm thinking about it, was, well, for 2 cents, what could I buy? Now, realistically, for 2 cents, what could I buy? And then the whole ideal of Tron for 2 cents, everything about it, everything it stands for, the future that it has, the ideology that's behind it. For 2 cents, you can buy that. You can't buy a piece of gum,
right?
But you can buy a Tron. You know what I mean? It's absurd.
Yeah, and we know the potential.
So I bought a lot of it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm right there with you, brother. So I mean, I know the days will come when it'll be priced at around $1, and that's still fine, because even when they're giving you tips, if they give you a fourth of a Tron or a whole Tron, then that's, or a TRX, and 25 cents, 50 cents, 75 cents, $1, that's going to add up. I think the tipping is going to be, really awesome on the platform, as well as,
I think the tipping is going to be great on the platform.
Yeah.
I think the tipping's going to be amazing on the platform.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. It's tipping. Then you make you'll make your, your core money.
Well, we used to, when we were in Nashville and we were starting out, Starlings, Tennessee, that's what we used to, what's called busking. We used to busk on the streets. We were used to do these street shows. Us and, I don't know if you ever heard of a band called Okra Medicine Show.
Nope, but I'll check it
If
out.
you don't, go look. Yeah, definitely check out Old Crow Medicine Show. But we all, we used to all busk on the streets and stuff like that, and then head over to the Villager Tavern and have a couple drinks, and with whatever tip money we made.
There's nothing like seeing people playing on the streets. That's one of my favorite things to do. It's just so raw and
especially
so
these
fun.
guys, Old Crow Medicine Show, absolute fantastic musicians. And they were like young kids at the time. They were kids. We looked at them as like, who the hell are these kids? Where the hell did they learn to play like that? Jeez.
Well, I know if I saw you on the street
now
playing
they play
that
it like the
dulcimer.
Grand Ole Opry, and now they play it like the Grand Ole Opry, and they're famous now.
Yes, and what are they called again? Old Crow
Medicine Show.
Old Crow Medicine Show. I'm
yeah,
definitely gonna have to take a look at them.
Great band, great bunch of guys.
And that's crazy how a lot of you guys, within the music industry, and not the industry, but like the artists themselves, like you guys run into each other, at different phases in lives, and you're playing with these people, and I can only imagine how much fun it is.
It's awesome. That's the best thing about about playing is, especially like when you're getting in and you're doing like festivals and stuff like that, and there's 30 or 40 bands, and you go backstage and there's like this guy from this band and this guy from this band and this guy from this band and this guy from this band, and everybody's just sitting around picking, and having a good time. And it's just great. It's what music's all about. It's, it's a community, and the same thing, eventually will apply to crypto.
Oh yeah.
TRON's already got an amazing community.
Oh yeah, and the
it's like you better not say anything bad about Justin Sonner. Let me tell you what.
Yeah, you can make jokes about how he makes announcements of the announcements, because even he can joke with that. But nah, you don't talk mess with him because
Yeah.
You're right. The community's great, man. I remember when I first once they launched the mainnet and all this stuff about the super reps and everything, I talked to the founders and developers on there, and they're so kind. They're all willing to give information and help out. And that's what it's all about, because, they want adoption, and it's just kind of like everyone's all together. And, obviously in crypto, there's always, a little drama here and there, but for the most part in this community, I don't know any other community that's as strong as this one,
Yeah, because we're not as crazy as those Ripple people either.
But see, the Ripple people, all they care about is money. All the Ripple people care about is money. We care about true decentralization. 589. Yep. No, it's right there.
Yeah.
Man.
No. See, the TRON community, it's they believe, and that's another reason behind, why people will get upset if you say anything about Justin Sun, because if you actually follow TRON and you follow, if you're just following his announcements or announcements of announcements, then whatever, you don't understand. Everything he does is so specific and so intentional and so for a reason that when he makes an announcement, I'm trying to read behind it as to what he's really trying to say,
You're like every other person trying to encode the message and figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there was the whole big deal about, last week when, the whole, partnership deal with the multi-billion-dollar or tens of billions of dollars company deal that he, announcement that he made. And then, everyone announced that, was upset because it was just buying cloud services from Baidu. And then 3 days later, I see on LinkedIn, manager from Oracle had posted on his LinkedIn page that he was meeting at the TRON Foundation offices in San Francisco.
Oh, wow. See, those are,
and it was just days after the whole, it was just days after the whole Baidu thing, and everybody was upset because they thought Justin was, misleading people. But then 3 days later, Oracle is mentioning going to the TRON offices, and Oracle mentions meeting about tokenization and partnerships.
Wow. Yeah, we're too far
So it's
along
obvious
in the
Justin
game
Sun was just
for
buying
him to
cloud
be-
space from Baidu to lure Oracle in.
Yeah.
I mean, he's smarter than a fox.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he knew exactly what he was doing. He bought cloud space from Baidu, but all of a sudden Oracle's coming to a meeting, and then I saw right after that several other companies who were dropping, "Hey, how do we get a meeting?" I mean, trust me, I religiously follow TRON, anything, anywhere.
Wow. That's you
And
one up me on that one because I didn't know that.
Oh, I'm a detective when it. No, search it. It's very interesting.
I mean,
very
they're
interesting.
because
all the pieces of the puzzle, Justin Sun does one thing, and then I see another piece of the puzzle come in from another angle.
Right.
And Oracle, it would be more of a, even more of a big fish than Baidu, at least in America.
Yeah.
But a lot of companies are going to want to work with TRON because they want to get in the Chinese market, which TRON is setting up at this point. I mean, a platform for a lot of American companies
and
to get into China.
They're too far along in the way, and they've delivered on everything that they've said, that you can't take something that they say for granted anymore.
No,
at first,
not at all.
At first people would take it just for hype, but now it's something that's true. You can't. I mean, bottom line, like, whatever they say that they're gonna do it, and
without
people
a doubt,
get upset because of the price and everything, but just you wait. Wait.
That is what it is. That is what it is. When the entire machine comes together, though, what's the valuation of it going to be?
Right.
And it's, companies are going to come calling on TRON. TRON's not going to have to go, calling on companies.
Yep. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. Because the platform's there, they've delivered on everything they promised. They've even delivered ahead of schedule on most times, except for there was like one web stream that was like 1 minute and 38 seconds late starting. That kind of pissed me off. But
man, Tim, so tell me, you were telling me that you go and you're doing things a little different now with Starlings, because that band is still active, right? I see that you guys released your latest album this year in 2018.
What we do is we go apart for a couple of years, and then we all do our own thing, and then we'll come back together and we'll record 3 or 4 albums very quickly, and then we'll just have the record label release them as
as needed.
we don't have to stay on the road and tour full time or anything like that. We'll get together and record a bunch of songs, and we'll do 1 or 2 tours.
Wow. That's awesome. So when's the
next
time?
And then we'll go live our own lives, and then it's one of those things where
I'd definitely like to catch you guys
it's just for the love of music, and the record label supports that. So we're lucky in that aspect, is that when we get together and do something, we know it's going to come out. We know it's going to be released. We know it's going to be supported. So we'll get together, we'll make music and have a good time for, a couple years, and then we'll go our separate ways, and then a couple years later we'll get back together and do it all over again.
That's awesome. And that's
we've been doing it long enough that we don't really want to live on the road anymore, because it was fun when I was young. It was fun, being in 120 cities a year and stuff like that. But you realize it's like, you're here today and there tomorrow, and there's 8 hours in between.
Yeah.
So it's like, you spend all day getting to a city. You get to a city, you set up, you sound check, you go check into a hotel room, you sleep for a couple hours, you get up, you eat, you go wait to play, you play your show. You
hang out,
you hang around, you have a couple drinks, glad hand, talk to a couple of people, sign a couple of autographs, and then you get back in the van and and you drive 8 hours to you never really get to see anything or do anything. You're just, people don't realize, you think touring is fun. Yeah, maybe if you're, I don't know, a huge band that has 13-night stand at, Madison Square Garden, then it's probably great. But you
most
know,
of the
when you're
cases,
when you
not.
when yeah, but when you're the real band, you know, you're it's just it's endless work. It's 24 hours a day of work
Yeah, I'm
in
glad.
a really bad lifestyle.
Right. I've talked to musicians where they literally just pack a backpack and they wear they exchange maybe like 2 or 3 outfits the whole tour.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty awesome, but
Yeah, when you find a hotel that has a laundromat in it, you're like, man, this place is so great.
Hey, so when's the next time that Starlings will be on the road? Or at least not on the road, but playing somewhere. Let's put it that way.
I'm not. You never really know with us. You never really know with us. We usually, though, we'll usually make an appearance at South by Southwest Music Festival first, and then we'll go from there.
Right. Well,
we'll show up on the bill at South by Southwest, and then we'll be like, all right, so we're all here. What do you want to do?
And that's when
that's always kind of our mainstay. We'll get back together and we'll play South by Southwest, and because that's always like the most fun. That's we have our record label is in Austin, Texas. So and our record label is all the bands that are on the record label, we're like family. So
that's what I hear. A lot of record labels are like family. Yep.
Yeah.
At least the independent ones.
When we get together to do South by Southwest, we usually have the record label party, which is like an all-day party where all the bands play, and then the showcase, the official South by Southwest showcase where all the bands play together, which we all hate. Actually, we love our day party where it's just us and we can hang out and we can all drink all day and have a good time. The South by the official showcase that that all the industry people have to come to pay to see, we hate those.
Really?
Because they're very strict. There's always like, it's run by the festival, so there's always like stage managers and road hands and stuff like that, and they're rushing you on and rushing you off, and they're like, you have no time to do anything, or it's very strict as to what you can do. Whereas we always have a day party like the day before the showcase, to where it's just all the bands and everybody's just relaxed and cool and laid back and having a great time and hanging out and playing whatever and goofing off. And South by Southwest is like you have 30 minutes or 27 minutes to play all your hits and get the hell off stage. The day party is like, we're going to play like 6 more songs. Yeah. Screw you guys.
It's more for fun. I gotcha.
Well, the day parties last like 8 hours, and the showcase lasts like 3 hours.
That's cool, man. Well,
and the day parties are free. So anybody can
So can
anybody
you
at
get me into
all
one of those
can
day
just
parties?
walk in and have. Oh hell yeah, without a doubt. You'll be. If I'm coming down there for sure, you will be invited. I will message you.
Okay, I'm in Houston, so that's a 2-hour drive for me.
Even if I'm not going next year, I'm going to message you and invite you to the day party.
Okay.
So you're in Houston, right? You know Bushwick Bill from the Ghetto Boys?
Say it again?
You know Bushwick Bill from, you heard of the Ghetto Boys, the rap band from Houston?
No, I haven't.
It's an old school rap band. It's an old school rap band from Houston called the Ghetto Boys. They had like one hit back in the day. And Bushwick Bill's he's a midget, one-eyed rapper. He got his eye shot out he got his eye shot out by like his ex-girlfriend.
Ooh.
Because he was crazy or something. He is crazy.
So
he showed up at like he showed up at our bluegrass show and wanted to sit in for the night. So it was like, oh hell yeah. Come to the day party tomorrow, man. We'll put a band together for you.
That's awesome. See, that's how the day party.
That's how the day parties go.
I'm trying to meet a lot of musicians now and get hooked up, because the day party is where it's at, I believe.
Oh yeah, the day parties are definitely where it's at. The showcases are okay, but then you got to spend like $900 for like the pass to get in. Yeah.
Yeah, and then pay
whereas you go to the day parties, and then you can also get drinking passes to all the secret day. There's several hideaway day spots where all the musicians hang out and drink.
Oh wow, okay. See, I really need to get with you, Because yeah, during that time you're paying 300% for the hotel, and then $500, $1,000 for the passes. It's crazy. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. No,
and then again, the artists
I wouldn't even buy the
barely
pass.
any of that.
Go and get in. Just go and crash all the day parties. That's pretty much what I do. And I usually have a free pass to go to any of the shows that I want to see, and I almost never go to anybody. I think I went to see Tony Bennett one time, just because. And I think I went to see Prince.
Oh, see, that's
and
awesome.
Other than that, I don't think I went to see anybody else at all. I just crashed all the day parties, basically.
That's awesome. So okay. So before, I almost forgot about this. I wanted you to tell this story. Before we end it, can you tell us the Willie Nelson story?
Oh, okay. Well, it was another one. It was one of those where it was a one-off show in Starlings, Tennessee. We were opening up for Willie Nelson, and we were supposed to play probably about 45 minutes.
That's what a usual opener does, right?
But, yeah. We were supposed to play about 45 minutes, and then we got right near the end of our set, and the booking agent who had booked the show came up, and he's signaling us to keep going. So we're like, all right. So we kept going. We played a few more songs, and then we were like, we got one more. And he comes running up to the front, and he, keep going. Well, an hour and a half into it, we were like, shit, we're out of songs.
Was they playing cover songs or what? And how are the people
we paused there, and he comes up, and he's like, man, I need you guys to keep playing, because the Louisiana Highway Patrol's got Willie pulled over, and they're searching the bus. Yeah. They're tearing the bus apart. Willie, so you guys got to keep playing too. So we ended up playing 3 hours. I mean, my arms
just started
were
playing covers, or what?
No, we played all the songs we knew, which took about an hour and a half, and then we just started all over again.
How were the fans over there? Were they what the heck is going on?
They loved it. They everybody was everybody was cool. Everybody was cool with it. And then we finally, after playing everything we knew twice, we got to the last 2 or 3 songs that we got, on our second round through every song we knew. And here comes Willie's bus pulling up. And we were like, oh, thank God. And Willie invited us under the bus to thank us for and the funny part was, it was like, well, what happened? He's like, well, they smelled marijuana, so they brought out the dogs, and they wanted to have the dogs, try and tear the bus apart to try and find marijuana. He said, but I'll be damned, everything on that bus smells like marijuana. The dogs couldn't find nothing.
Man. See, I knew that was going to be the best story to end it with. Man.
Yep.
Hey, Tim, I appreciate you, coming on this call and joining me for this episode. I had a lot of fun talking to you. If we want to follow you or the band, where's the best place to follow you guys at?
You can follow me on tronscan.com.
Your address is XY.
Or Big Guild chat.
Well, it's Starlings, Tennessee.
Keep up with the Starlings. Eventually, we are on Chicken Ranch Records. You'll see announcements and stuff like that. And I still, we'll write reviews and stuff like that for Chicken Ranch Records. And other than that, you just have to wait and see, because we kind of disappear and we get out of the public eye for a while, and then we, when it's least expected, we pop back in. That's just kind of how we operate. We've given up on being famous. We'd rather be infamous.
You're right. There you go. Well, man, again, I
But
appreciate
who knows?
you.
Our next album may turn up on Beats.
There you go, man. There you go. See, I look forward to
because
not only seeing you play
about
live, but
I'm all about being part of the community.
oh yeah, yeah. We're gonna rock this thing out. We're gonna get people like you and other very good quality bands and musicians and even ones starting out. We're gonna get them to use our platform. I firmly believe it. So
Well,
I
definitely
look
I'm
forward
in.
to that. I'll be tipping you every time I hear that dulcimer.
Excellent. Well, thank you
All
very
right,
much.
man.
Thanks for having me on.
I appreciate you.
All right.
Whiskey sweet, whiskey of mine. Want you to love my only crime, and I'm new in
So that instrument you hear there doing the solo at the end of the outro, that right there is the Appalachian dulcimer. That's what Tim plays. So very beautiful instrument. Anyways, guys, thank you for listening in. Follow us on social media, Twitter, YouTube, Telegram, Guild Chat, etc. We're BeatzCoin because we have a great interactive community and we do a lot of giveaways. So we look forward to bringing you more info as we progress with the project and many more interesting guests like Tim. So bye for now.